and I'm going to ask you a little bit about your home and have you elaborate on some of that in a moment. But I also remember when I was looking up some stuff about you, you said something to the effect of like, absolutely love Salem, Oregon.
Love it.
Right. Why?
Bro, all the coolest things in my life happen here. Like all the best stuff happen here. Like I can't even explain it. Like,
well, for someone who's never been here or maybe has stopped by but has never lived it the way that you have, how would you describe this place?
First off, man, when you come in on that plane and when you hit the Northwest and you see I came from Las Vegas. It's mountains and desert. So to come somewhere and see mountains that are covered in trees, crazy to even like. It doesn't look right. It look different. Getting off the plane and going, tasting the air, bro. Me and my bro Dev. As soon as we got off the tarmac in Eugene, we was like, bros, we both lived the same thing. And so just that, you can drink water out of the faucet. I think that's dope. When you go walking down the street or whatever, like people, oh, how you doing? And then wait for you to respond and tell you how your day's going. Like whether they care really or not, they care enough. It's not weird. Like at first I'm like, why? Like for real, like why? Like now wait for them to do their pitch or whatever. But just that right there was culture shocks. But I would say the thing that I love most about Salem in general, I think it's a hidden gem. I love a good come up. You feel me? Like I love watching the grind. I love seeing, like I got to see this place started back in like 2011, maybe 2011-ish. And I got to see a lot of the early infrastructure and watch a lot of things change, at least from my point. And I get to meet the people who are actually trying to do the change. And if I don't account all the things that happened to me and just those kind of things, I think it's dope because I think Salem is really on the come up. Like it's a capital city. It has everything you need. It has the malls. We got airport now. We got commercial flight. We have freaking a downtown. We have multiple spots where you can do everything. We got enough high schools for all the kids. We got, like, bro, we got all the things that you would need that, like, if you were in a small, we got a Walmart. Like you feel me? We got Target. Like, we got Buffalo. Like, it's certain things that when you're chasing the ball and you go to all these different places that you take for granted, it's all here.
Yeah.
Like, you still got it. It's a capital city. And on top of that, if you really want to, you can go talk to the people who make the decisions. They're right down the street. Yeah. Like, if you really want to take it there. So I just think, you know, Salem in that regard, like, it's unique in the Northwest because it's a capital. And it hasn't even scratched the surface of what it could be yet. And while everybody else is just like, you know, they did their thing, but now it's about to be our turn.
Love it. You getting to Salem is an intriguing story in my mind. How did you get to Salem, get to Corbin?
Shoot, bro.
Chemeketa.
Transparency time. So around the time I was seeing a girl, we were really tight, and we were going to have a kid at the time. And so I was going to go to school in Washington with my bros. But when I found out she was pregnant, I'm like, okay, let me go to you. I want to be there for everything. I want to be where you are because this is where she is from. And so I ended up there. I ended up here. And during that process, I played in like an open gym, or not open gym, like an adult league at like the courthouse. And I ended up playing against the assistant coach, the now head coach, Jeff Williams at Chemeketa. And so, like, I do that, and it was a great time. And he's like, hey, bro, what is you doing? Who are you? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm leaving to Washington, though. I don't know. But I go to an open gym or two, and then they offer me a scholarship. So at this time, I'm reffing at the hoop. I'm coaching middle school at the hoop. And now I got an offer to go play out here. My girl's out here. We about to start a family, all that. I tell my mom, she's like, well, why would you leave? I'm like, I ain't never thought of it like that. Like, you feel me? Like, that's all I needed to hear. And right then and there, I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing. Mind you, I don't regret it as a person. As an athlete, I do. Simply because I missed opportunity to go play with my best friends, and to this day, that's probably my only athletic regret. I didn't get to go play with my bros. And not only that, they went to the championship and lost that year. They were undefeated and lost to the championship that year. And to this day, my brother's like, it's all your fault, bro. It's all your fault.
I'm a marketer too.
Yeah.
And people will say things like, this is our brand or this is our motto. But when I met you and kind of walked into this environment, there's an authenticity to this community culture thing. Yeah. Honestly, it really is. And so I am curious, how did you fuel that from being not just a motto, but to really being the thing?
I think it's really hard for some people to practice the preach. And I feel like I do a really good job with following through. I'm definitely a no BS, like very cut and dry, very honest, which, as a business owner, people like, but sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. But it's like at the end of the day, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to be real with people. I'm here to say exactly what I'm doing. And I think there's been a lot of teams in the past that have come through Salem where they say one thing and then do another. And I just, stick to my guns. Like, I'm not going to overpromise anything because I will never underdeliver. And it goes a long way with the guys. It's like Kev said before, like, this is your contract, and what the contract says is what's going to happen. Because I know, with these type of leagues, like, that's not always the case. There's a lot of overpromising and underdelivering. And I think that's why we've built such a good reputation. Like, if I say it, then it's going to happen. And I'll let you know if it's not going to happen, because that's just who I am. But I will never tell you something knowing that it won't happen. And it's the same thing with the community stuff. Like, that's, at the end of the day, the community is the biggest piece for me. Obviously, basketball is what is the platform to be able to do it. But I always tell people, I run a community organization that just happens to play basketball. It matters to me that we're able to make an impact, that we're able to, one, that I'm able to fulfill dreams for these guys that thought their basketball careers were over, and two, that they then get to be role models for these kids that are looking up to them. Because there's a lot of, we have a huge following and demographic of young people, and these guys are now in a position that they probably had no idea they would ever be in. And for me to watch that from the outside in is a special experience, especially with guys like Domo. Domo is a very special human, and he takes it very seriously. If there's a kid in the stands that says, hey, I have a basketball game on this day, if you don't have practice or a game, will you come watch? He'll go watch. Preston, same thing. Like, all these guys are so accessible to the community, and I think that's the biggest impact point that we have, because you think of pro sports and you don't think accessibility. It's, I think there's a lot of politics behind higher leagues that, oh, well, we have to be at schools, we have to have this many appearances, this and that. These guys actually want to be in the community, which makes a huge difference, because I think you can tell when there's events happening and guys want to be there and when guys have to be there.
So this has to be informed from something in your past to have honesty, following through. You didn't say bluntness, but I get what you're saying. The directness, that has to come from somewhere. Why do you think that became a true value that carries into the organization for you? When do you think that happens?
I look at everything as a relationship. I feel like I used to be that guy. I used to be I want to sugarcoat it, and I don't want anyone to feel bad. And I, unfortunately have learned through failed relationships, that's not how it works. Like, I'd rather make someone mad in the moment by being honest than have a bunch of buildup and have them be like, oh, well, you weren't actually really honest about what was going on. And I'm probably until I moved to Salem, I was the sugarcoater guy. And then I had this opportunity to redefine myself. And that's who I am, truly. I have really bought into this honesty factor, and it has made my life so much easier.
Are you somebody who gets motivated through vindication, looking at this Rocky Mountain coach and saying, 100%. Hey, you don't have a chance, and now look at your story?
100%. I have, we'll be here all day. I got several, honestly, I have several stories that go with exactly what you just said. So when he said that to me, I didn't really take it as like, he's slandering me or he feels some type of way, because he wasn't rude about it. It was just his personal opinion. But when he said that, of course, it lit a fire in me and made me feel some type of way. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. If he doesn't feel like I fit, okay, great. I went to that All-Star game and grabbed, I don't know, a crazy amount of rebounds. And the coach from Humboldt State was in the stands. And at the end of the first quarter, I remember vividly looking up to the stands and he's on the phone. And I'm like, you're here to watch me play and you're sitting here on the phone. And I'm like, what's going on? So I talked to him after the game. He said, during the game, I was calling the assistant coach to tell him that we need to invite you up for a recruiting visit because we're very interested. So that was what was happening when he was on the phone in that situation. And that by him telling me that he doesn't think I can play at the other coach at Rocky Mountain telling me he didn't think I could play at that level made me go extra harder in that game, and then, whatever, the rest is history. But to back up a little bit, I said I played 7th grade organized basketball. 8th grade, I was cut. I went to one tryout and then the guy told us to come back. We went to the second tryout and the actual coach didn't show up until like an hour and a half later. And we were still sitting there waiting for him. And I waited and then he still like ended up cutting me that time. So fast forward, I ended up going to Humboldt State, whatever. We were in Eureka, California, and there was this big high school tournament that they have at Eureka. Eureka's 5 hours up north from the Bay Area where I grew up and went to school. So we put on, like, they asked some of the local people, like the local college guys, like us younger ones at the time, I was a freshman, to come to this high school tournament and do like a dunking exhibition, like in between games for the fans and stuff. So we did that. We put on a show, like it was fun. Like we're dunking, making all our dunks and the crowd going crazy, So as I walk out of the gym, mind you, this is 5 hours north. As I walk out of the gym, like people are coming up to us. They're like, "Oh, you guys did such a great job. Like that was fun. Like, where are you guys from?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Oakland originally, from the Bay Area." He's like, guy looked at me. He's like, "Man, you look familiar." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I am. I'm from the Bay Area." And he was like, "Me too." And I was like, "Yeah, I remember." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "You don't remember me?" He said, "No, I don't remember you." I was like, "You cut me 8th grade." And then I walked out of the gym. I'll never forget that moment. You would think like just that type of stuff, that motivation, but it's just funny how the world works that it happened that way.
Right. Yeah. That's a real powerful story. And just like, you can line it up on a timeline.
Right.
It's just neat.
Yeah.
You've mentioned her a couple times and then you put on our website, your hero is your mom.
Yes.
Why'd you say that?
Because she was, to be honest, she passed away about a year and a half ago now. But she was a single mom for the most part. My dad was around, like I was always in contact with my father, but him and my mom split up and then he went, got married and then had other kid or whatever. So I was living at home. So it was me, my mom, and my older brother. So my mom pretty much, did everything she possibly could to raise us. So she made every sacrifice, possible to make sure, we had the things that we needed. So she was a very strong woman. So therefore, she'll always be my hero for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear she passed.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you said on this on the website, so I'm assuming this is probably long-standing over your Capitals career. So she was part of that too. Did she get to watch you play here, coach here as well?
She didn't come to any games here. Yeah. But so the crazy thing about that story is I found out that she passed away on February 19th. And that was like a couple days before I actually started my head coaching career here. We went up to Canada like 2 days later to play those games. But it was, you know what I mean? The way that I honestly look at it is the fact that I was blessed enough to have the time that I did with her. So for me, that's special, the bond that we are able to have, because to be honest, I had at her memorial, my middle son, Zion, just out of the blue one day to me, he said, "Oh, Dad, I can see you're sad because of Grandma Iris passing away." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he said to me, how old was he? He was 4 at the time. And he said, "At least it didn't happen when you were a kid." And I was just like, you're absolutely correct, because I wouldn't have been able to experience, up into my, 30s, late 30s, to have that bond with my mom. And it really opened my eyes a lot when he said that to me.
Do you have a great pre-college basketball story that you go to, a memory that's pretty crisp in your mind?
Not a good one. I don't have a heavy-hearted or a one that make you smile. Mine is more of kind of a time where I was frustrated and irritated. Was my senior night. I spent that year kind of going through an injury, and when you come back from injury and you figure things out, it's kind of slow. You start to figure things out, and then it gets towards the end of the season, and I'm not playing too much. And as a senior, your last night, you play a little bit or something. So my coach forgot to play me on senior night. And for the people who know my mom, she was not having that. So that's the memory I have. That game, just sitting there frustrated, and then her reaction at the end. I don't know if I would even say on camera it wasn't a good time.
Yeah, that's kind of a downer for sure. I'm intrigued. You're playing professional basketball, and we're going to get to your Salem Capitals experience.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get through your collegiate career, but it's surprising for someone to learn that a guy who's good enough to play at the level that the Capitals play was not getting a ton of minutes senior year of high school. What's going on?
Honestly, I wasn't very good. I was able to shoot the ball. I've always been able to shoot, but I didn't have every part of the game kind of together like I do now, and I got a lot better as years go on. Yeah, I could always guard, always shoot, but just didn't have all the right pieces and wasn't performing the best in in high school. So,
Still, you got to have something in you to have that want to continue to go. What was that reason that you kept pressing?
I just really love basketball. Early on in life, I was a big football guy until about 6th, 7th grade, and I was I had to choose between one or the other. My mom was like, "This is where it gets kind of start serious," and I was like, "Okay, I'll choose basketball." And then I stuck it out, got through high school, and then actually I went a prep year after high school, and that's when I kind of got a lot better really quickly.
You mentioned you've always loved basketball, or at least you had that shift, maybe football initially, but like I said, you always had that sweet spot for basketball. What attracted you to the game?
Honestly, probably watching basketball growing up. I watched a lot of Kobe, a lot of Derrick Rose. That era of basketball was fun to watch. I had posters all on my wall. I had Derrick Rose's shoes on my feet. So probably that. I just fell in love with watching it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because, this is a long road, right? I'm going to ask you specifically about college in a moment, but how many years do you total that basketball has been something that you actively have done?
I would say from about 6th grade until today,
it
was basketball was my thing. I don't know how early I would have started actually playing and trying to little basket, a little dunk hoop thing. Maybe I had some of that. I don't remember much of it. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you have a favorite Kobe memory, favorite Rose memory?
Just the whole Derrick Rose MVP season was just fun to watch. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's just so fearless. That just always stuck with me.
He's got a tough story in the sense that you had the MVP season and then just the rest of that time was a rocky road.
Injuries can just change the course of somebody's career. I think the NBA is the biggest stage for people to see that, but that happens to everyone, even high school or college athletes.
Have you ever dealt with any injuries?
I dealt with actually I have two like really big ankles. Actually, I deal with two separate ankle injuries. My sophomore year of junior college, I went to chase down like block, and I landed on someone's foot, and it rolled outwards and inwards, and I was out. I was in a boot, and I ended up. Funny thing, I've never done acupuncture before. I limped into the place, couldn't even put weight on my foot. Like I had crutches, and then by the time I was done, I walked out on 2 feet. I was like, I recommend to this day, I'm like, hey, try acupuncture, because I was like 0% to like 60% in a day.
That's nuts.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what's going on?
And it persisted? Like you didn't have to go
I still had to work my ankle back, but like just being able to walk after limping in there or in crutches was just already like 180. And then like rehabbing it with my JUCO coach, which if you know any JUCO athletes or if anybody is in JUCO, there's not very much of a training system, or like it's just you, your coach, an ice bath or a bucket, and that's pretty much it.
How many ice baths did you take?
Too many, and I can't stand them.
Well, I was gonna say, because there's like this cold plunge movement that you see online, and then I got folks like you who are like, listen, I don't want to go back in one of those ever again.
I will not do it unless my coach is like, hey, ice bath or run. I will not be in the ice bath.